in Dover Street, of which he was a popular member, you would have encountered him without surprise. In the executive building of the superb Llewellyn, he seemed out of place. You felt he ought not to be there. Ivor Llewellyn, the president of the organization, had this feeling very strongly. There was an ornamental lake on the superb Llewellyn lot, and it was his opinion that his production adviser ought to be at the bottom of it with a stout brick attached to his neck. Though not as a rule a lavish man, he would gladly have supplied brick and string free of charge. Refreshed by lunch, Monty was plainly in jovial mood. He nearly always was, and it was this unfailing euphoria of his that twisted the knife in Mr. Llewellyn's bosom. He holding the view that a man who had chiselled his way into the superb Llewellyn as Monty had done ought at least have the decency to behave as if his conscience were gnawing him. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "I got entangled in some particularly adhesive spaghetti and have only just succeeded in hacking my way through to safety. Anything sensational happened in my absence?" "No." "No earthquakes or other acts of God?" "No." "No trouble brewing in the writers' kraals? The natives not restless?" "No." There had been an unwonted brusqueness in Sandy's monosyllabic replies, and Monty regarded her with concern. They gave him the impression that she had something on her mind. He was very fond of her, in a brotherly way, of course, to which even Gertrude Butterwick, always inclined to look squiggle-eyed at his female friends, could not have taken exception, and it pained him to think that anything was worrying her. "You seem distrait, my poppet. Are you musing on something?" It seemed to Sandy that at last an opportunity had presented itself for extracting confidences from this man of mystery. Never till now had their conversation taken a turn which provided her with such an admirable cue. "If you really want to know," she said, "I was musing on you." "You were? I'm flattered." "I was trying to figure out what you were doing in Llewellyn City." "I'm a production adviser, see-door." "Exactly. That's what puzzled me. At most studios, from what one hears, you have to be a nephew or a brother-in-law of the man up top to be given an important position like that. Yet here you are, no relation even by marriage, production advising away like a house on fire. And you told me you had no previous experience. That's good, don't you think? I bring a fresh mind to the job. But how did you get the job?" "I met Llewellyn on the boat coming over from England. And he said, 'I like your face, my boy. Come and take charge of my productions.' It amounted to that. He must have liked your face very much. Can you blame him? Of course, there was another factor which was of assistance to me in the negotiations." "What was that?" "Never mind." "But I do mind. What was it?" "He had urgent need of something that was in my possession. In order to induce me to part with it, he was obliged to meet my terms. That's how business deals are always conducted." "What was it he wanted?" "If I tell you, will you promise to ask no more questions?" "All right. Sacred word?" "Sacred word." "Very well. It was a mouse." "What?" "That's what it was." "But I don't understand. How do you mean? Why did he want a mouse?" "You promised not to ask any more questions." "But I didn't think you were going to say a mouse. In this world we must be prepared for anybody to say anything." "But a mouse? Why? The subject is closed." "You aren't going to explain?" "Not a word. My lips are sealed, like those of a clam." Sandy's exasperation became too much for her. If she had had any more lethal weapon than a small notebook, she would have thrown it at him. She burst into a tidal wave of eloquence. "Shall I tell you something that may be of interest? You make me sick. Here am I, trying to collect material for the memoirs I shall be writing one of these days, and what ought to be the most interesting part of them, the time I spend working for the great Monty Bodkin in Hollywood, won't amount to a hill of beans because the great Monty Bodkin is one of those strong, silent Englishmen who don't utter. They are generally described correctly as dumb bricks. All I shall be able to tell my public is that on the rare occasions when you did break your Trappist vows, you talked as if you had a potato in your mouth." Monty started. The shaft had pierced his armour. "A potato? Large and boiled. You're crazy. All right, I'm just telling you." The discussion threatened to become heated. Monty, always the man of peace, raised